Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFK journey video. In this video, I wanted to make a Supreme Arena Defense quick video updating you on the teams that I'm currently running, and this might be more useful for you if the previous teams I've recommended in the last two videos are not runnable for you. Maybe, for example, if you're missing Freya's to a build or something from those teams, or if the teams are just not performing well for you, then you can try these teams. And now these teams I'm going to show in this video are basically the teams, my go-to teams that I've been using for the past few weeks, but just arranged a little bit differently on different maps. And so in future videos, when I make these Supreme Arena Defense video guides, I'm always going to try to include these three teams in the various maps, and then on top of that I can add on, for example, like different things I'm experimenting with that week, because I always like to do a little bit of experimentation, trying out different defenses and see how they do, because maybe the teams I'm running are not the optimal ones. But usually what ends up happening is in the end, I end up going back to these teams. And so these are the tried and tested teams which always kind of do well. And so I just want to show them to you and explain my reasoning for the positioning, or like on the different maps. So here we have the first, okay, wait. We need to put the Shakir over here. I was thinking, where does a valorshield spell apply to? And in this position, it does apply actually to this backline target. But for some reason, it's really strange. If, for example, I had heroes like this, you would think, okay, well, if this Shakir is a rearmost, then the frontmost would be Rainier, right? It's just like, but for whatever reason with valorshield spell, apparently it gives the rearmost to the Shakir, and it gives the frontmost to the Vala. Which doesn't make any sense to me, because, I mean, like, if the frontmost is Vala, then the rearmost should be Brutus. If the rearmost is Shakira, then the frontmost should be Rainier. So I think they've somehow changed, like, the rear tiles, but not the rest of the map. Anyway, it's just really confusing. But this solves the problem. If we have Vala positioned up here, for example, then she is going to get the buff from valorshield. Now, the buff for Vala is probably not great, because we would prefer the haste buff onto Vala. But what the valorshield does is it gives the haste buff to your rearmost, so it will give it to Shakir, and it gives a defense's buff to your frontmost, which is going to be the Vala here. So Vala will gain a pretty hefty defense boost along with the damage reduction of Coco. Vala is actually going to be very difficult to kill. So this is the team that I'm going to be running for team number 1. Okay, we're going to have the Rainier back here, sorry. It was just because I was having Shakir on the other tile, thinking that valorshield would apply there, but it doesn't. People have told me that it applies over here. Still, we'll have to do more testing. It's really confusing, like the positioning of everything and who is considered rearmost on the different maps and sides, but it is apparently the Shakir here. And also, resonating spell does go to this back rearmost tile now as well, when previously it used to go to the tile that Brutus is on. Okay, so I like this team, however, I have a bit of issues with it. I think Vala is still kind of weak on defense, and because the opponent can quite easily counter her by placing some like Thorin or maybe even Brutus in the back to take the Vala mark, but I still think we have enough kill pressure with the other heroes and a really overall strong, well-rounded team. So that is why I'm still a fan of this team, and I think it's a great option, a great way for you to incorporate Vala. If you don't have Vala, then you can replace it for other Mauler heroes, like you can do Smokey, you can do OD, you can even bring a tank like Granny in here. Basically, the new factional tile system makes it you only need to have 3 of a faction, activate those tiles, and then you can run any hero. There's no bonus factional advantage for having 4 or 5 Maulers, for example. So this is the team. And I really like it. I feel like it's really good. It has like Vala as a kill threat, but also Shakir as a kill threat, and it makes people want to deny their buff spot. Okay, let's move ahead to the next one. So this I also like, even though wilder tiles are actually countered in this infinite front, because you are probably still going to be limited to range of 3, even if you're on the buff tiles. I still like this team because I feel like the heroes which gain a lot of value from when the opponents have to come up close to you, one of them is Thorin, the other one is Scarlita, right? If Thorin is up there and the opponent has to walk all the way up to him to begin attacking him because they can't attack him from far away, he's going to get more value from damage effect. And also, enemies are going to be grouped up for Scarlita to descend and then knock them off the field. So I feel like it's a really good comp for that. And Halo and Floribel, I mean, they can walk up. I don't have any issue with that. and they're gonna have the shield from the wild buff tile. This is perfectly fine for me. Tide Call spell, because like I mentioned to you guys, based on how the ultimate casting works, it ends up being a really perfect window where Scarlet is descending and the opponents are being debuffed with the Tide Call spell to protect her and also enable her to get some kills with her combo. And then here we have our final team. And so I like this team because I overall think the Iron type strategy is a little bit weak because of how dominant unaffected tiles are in the Molder and Wilder buff tiles this season, as well as the Valor Shield, which gives you unaffected. However, we also have a lot of kill threat from the Lily May. I like to have multiple threats here, and if, for example, we were running Lily May on my first team, or the Scarlet Stroll team, it might be better than Floribel there. However, it would make then this team weaker, because this team needs a lot of ways of killing the opponent in order to be strong. And I like it like this, because Rowan can give the energy to our team. Usually we'll be able to get at least one ultimate cast off from Aridin or Carolina. That could be a big swing for us. Iron will get off his ultimate, even though probably a lot of the opponents will be unaffected. It still is going to maybe control some of the enemies. And Lily May here for the damage. And now if we take a look at the other heroes that I'm resonating spell, and like we mentioned, this is now considered the rearmost tile where Arden is. That's why I want him there with the resonating spell, because I want Arden to cast as much as possible for the AoE entangling vines that he applies, as well as high damage. So yeah, now the heroes, like we take a look at my inventory here, we could be running Granny. She would be a good option. We could even run her in this team, but I feel like the problem with it is Granny is just a meat shield, and she doesn't provide any kill threat for your team. If the opponent has a way of assassinating your backline Aridin and Carolina, that's what I'm worried about. And if they do that, then what use is Granny? She's not going to be able to solo the opponent team. But having Lily May in here, it makes the opponent a lot more worried that just, okay, it's not just that they have to eliminate the backline, they also have to have some way of dealing with Lily May, who has a lot of damage potential. So that is kind of my reasoning behind that. And yeah, I mean, the other heroes which I would like to maybe deploy somewhere, Sylvina, although Sylvina is very weak, in my opinion, on defense if you don't have hidden tiles, because the opponent knows exactly how to counter her, and that is the issue. I think she's a bit stronger with the fact that you have buff tiles right now, because you can basically deny an opponent from placing a hero on the buff tile. Like, for example, in our Muller comp, if you didn't have Vala, for example, or don't want to run Rainier, you could have Sylvina on one of the buff tiles, and then the opponent either has to put a tank on that buff tile, or they have to put not their main carry on that buff tile, because Sylvina's going to come for them. And that is kind of the thing. Apart from that, Odie would be fine to use in, like, maybe the Mauler team. I think that's where he's more suited, like Odie, Coco, and have a frontline tank to protect you like Brutus or Shakira, probably the best option. And Freesto would also be suited. However, I don't know, like, for example, this map, I don't want to run Freesto here, and the second map, he did really well, and he did well with the Maulers here, but for my Scarlet Stroll team, I do not want to run the Freesto here. And then finally, you have this team, which, yeah, I mean, you could run the Freesto here, but it becomes very awkward. You're not going to get the maximum value. Like, we could run, for example, Freesto rather than the Vala. Basically, very similar to the team that we were running on map 2 prior to this, and it would be fine, but I don't know, Vala offers more kill pressure. I feel like just putting the Freesto in here, the opponent has ways of dealing with it. I don't know exactly how they would deal with it, because the Shakira is really scary, but if they have enough sustain, my team will not be able to burst through them. Vala has the kill threat that even if the opponent has sustain, Vala can burst through them. And I feel like she'll take better advantage of the Valor Shield artifact, like the shield, for her tankiness than other heroes. I think she could be kind of a menace. But the Shakira is, yeah. So overall, that's kind of my thought process on all of it. And I do really like Rainier in this team to give the attack charms at a minimum to Shakira. And if anyone has a hero on the buff tile here, then Shakira is going to be either position swapped, or at the very least going to gain the damage reduction from the +10 exclusive equipment of Rainier, and also he's going to get the increased damage taken by that enemy who we are position swapping, even if they are unaffected and not swappable, because he reduces the position switch allies damage taken by 25%, which is pretty big. For this team, we could be running the verdant spell as well. Arguably, that could be even better, but I wanted to try valorshield spell. A lot of people are running it and having success with it. It also makes Vala unaffected, which I think can be pretty strong if the opponent has any way of like crowd controlling her, at least while the shield is active. And yeah, I mean, definitely on offense, I think a team like this can be insane, and I would really recommend it. But on defense, the problem is it's so easy to counter. But on offense, people are going to have their carriers on the buff tiles. It's just natural, and so Vala can get a lot of value. Yeah, so those are basically my teams. I'm pretty now happy with them, and it's funny because these are just the teams I've been running the last 2 weeks just on different maps. And I was first originally thinking of just doing this video using the same teams, but then I was like, you know what, let's be a little bit adventurous like I said in my video, and let's try some different options, maybe give people who don't have these heroes built up some different things to try. And we have kind of done that in the last 2 videos, but I think honestly, even by being adventurous, I ended up into territory where it's not even as relatable. For example, I was running Forester, Mikola in the Mauler team. Most people do not have Supreme plus Mikola, and even then, Coco is usually better, I think. And even in that team, maybe Coco was better. And Forester, people do not usually have him at Supreme plus yet, because they might be working on him right now. And so then he's not as effective, of course, before getting Supreme Plus. So that was kind of the issue I saw with that. And then also overall, I feel like the teams were a little bit unbalanced, having maybe 2 strong teams like the Mauler and the Skirly Destroy team, and then the final team being kind of like a weak leftover team. Whereas now I feel like they're more balanced. However, it might be worse for me because then maybe the opponent is going to be able to clear 2 of my teams, but in the previous formation he would not be able to do that. Okay, so those are my teams. Hopefully this is helpful. In future videos, I will probably be using these same 3 teams in the different maps in whatever arrangement, and then I'll recommend that to you. And then from that point on, if I want to try anything different, then I'll go into those teams because I feel like that's better. And especially making these videos, if I can give multiple team options, then maybe there's going to be a team that you'll be able to run. So that's my plan for the future. I'll try to give at least 2 different defense options each time I upload a video on recommended formations. Yeah, I haven't had much testing here. The troll attacked me, and he attacked me in the teams that I feel that I changed my Supreme Arena defense to yesterday. Yeah, I don't think the first team that I was running yesterday, that was not very good. Having Val and Arden on the tiles, not running Carolina. And the second team actually lost, my Mauler team. Although the opponent had a really strong Celestial Hypogean team. That's basically his unbeatable team. So I wasn't really upset with that. And then our team 3 did well, of course, Skirly the Stroll team. But yeah, I wanted to kind of give my teams a potential for all of them to win. And so yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. That is going to be it for this video, and yeah, good luck on Supreme Arena. Hopefully it's going well for you. And Clash Fronts, again, we have a 3-day preparation phase, but we get a lot of rewards again. It's kind of crazy each time. I thought this was going to be a one-time thing. Each time we do the Clash Call, we get to do all the activities, which is guaranteed up to all these season tokens. Now the battle rewards, these are the tough ones to do. Like, you can definitely do the battle on 2 different grids, 3 different grids. Pretty much everyone is capable of doing that. However, the defeat a certain number of heroes, that is more difficult. But now with the fatigue system being more like enhanced, or that is what they said, hopefully we will be able to complete these various events. So thank you for watching, guys. That is going to be it for this video. I'll hopefully see you guys in the next video. If you want to talk to me more, you can join my AFK Journey Discord server. There's a link to that in the description of this video. But these are my final defenses from this point on. That's what I say, but as soon as I start losing, or if I do start losing, I'm going to change it up again. Because that's always, that's like what I enjoy in this game. Trying to figure out what are the good defenses, what counters different people. And it's just, one defense is going to be good against one person and bad against the other person. So like, when you keep changing things around, it's not actually maybe improving your overall performance. Yeah, so these teams are great to stick to. But thanks for watching, guys. That's going to be it for this video. I'll hopefully see you in the next video. And until then, everyone, peace out for now.